Welcome back, everyone, to Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube. Big college basketball news with a massive pickup tonight by the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Point guard for the Florida Gators, Andrew Nembhard, announced today that he'll be transferring to Gonzaga. Nembhard picked Gonzaga over Duke, Stanford, USC, Memphis, and Georgetown in his list of Final Six. Nembhard is a 6'5" point guard. He's from the country of Canada, and he happened to be a 4-star top 30 recruit out of high school in the class of 2018. He started 67 games during the past 2 seasons for the Gators. He was an SEC All-Freshman Team selection back in 2019, and Nembhard this past season averaged 11.2 points per game and 5.6 assists per game, which he ranked second in the SEC in assists as a sophomore. Now, according to ESPN, Nembhard will most likely have to sit out next season before having 2 more seasons of eligibility remaining. He could possibly apply for a waiver, though, to play immediately for next season. Nembhard had a career-high 25 points twice this past season, happened against Alabama and Georgia. He also had 3 games in which he posted 10 or more assists in. His career high in assists this last season was 13 back in December against Long Beach State. Now, Andrew Nembhard's room for improvement will be building up his scoring abilities to become a knockdown shooter. He hasn't really had consistency as far as shooting consistency on the court scoring-wise, so that is one of the things that he's going to have to build up throughout his time at Gonzaga. But Nembhard did show flashes of scoring potential this past season. He shot the ball 9 for 11 from the floor against Texas A&M and scored 24 points during a victory over the Aggies back in February. Nembhard will be an asset, though, coming to Gonzaga. This is due to his tremendous ball handling skills, solid passing, and also his great on-court awareness. This should be able to earn him a starting point guard job coming up for Gonzaga after his sit-out season, in which he could come in right from the get-go and run the offense. Now, at Gonzaga, Nembhard will play alongside a roster that's usually loaded when it comes to the forward position. A lot of the forwards are just really good down low and can destroy their opponents when it comes to scoring inside. But as far as head coach Mark Few, he loves to take transfers here, especially at the point guard position, and develop them into being possibly the next All-American. And that's what Mark Few has here with the potential of Andrew Nembhard. Possibly could develop him to be an All-American in 2021-22 after sitting out this upcoming season. Now, an example of a former transfer point guard over at Gonzaga was this past season with Ryan Woolridge. He transferred over from North Texas over to Gonzaga, and this past season he averaged just over 10 points per game and just over 4 assists per game for Gonzaga for this past season for Ryan Woolridge. But coming in for this upcoming season at the point will be incoming freshman 5-star recruit point guard Jalen Suggs. He will most likely be a one-and-done, though, at Gonzaga, which means that the Bulldogs have already locked their future point guard in here with life after Suggs with Andrew Nembhard. As for the Florida Gators, the Gators should be able to get back this upcoming season Trey Mann, who is a top 25 recruit from the class of 2019. Mann should be the next point guard coming in for the Gators to fill in the shoes here. Nembhard. Mann, however, did declare for the NBA draft, so we are still awaiting for his final decision. Also coming back for Florida for this upcoming season will be at the forward position Keontae Johnson, the leading scorer from this past season, who averaged 14 points per game, just had over 7 rebounds per game, which he was the number 2 rebounder this past season. Also coming back for Florida will be forward Scotty Lewis, who is a 5-star top 10 recruit from the class of 2019. Both Johnson and Lewis back at Florida, expected for this upcoming season. And also the Gators expected to get back their number 4 scorer from this last season as well with Noah Luck. The only other player of significance that the Gators will lose for this season going into is Kerry Blackshear Jr., who is Florida's number 2 scorer, and he was the leading rebounder for the Gators this past season, as he happened to be the most sought-out transfer back in the transfer portal coming from Virginia Tech over to Florida back in 2019. The Gators will also be adding in 2 key transfers into their team for this upcoming season, with point guard Tyree Appleby from Cleveland State and also a forward with Anthony DeRugi from Louisiana Tech. So that's a wrap here to this video, the announcement with Andrew Nembhard, as he will be transferring over to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, feel free to check out all the other great content I have going on my channel as well. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, as this is Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube.